A being of immense power needs soldiers for his 10,000-year war. So he picks 5 children, minors. He hands them weapons, sends them at monsters, and tells them to keep it from their parents. That's not a dark retelling, that's episode 1. Today, we're prosecuting the most argued fan theory this fandom has, that Zordon, the mentor, the father figure, the giant head of goodness, was the villain all along. Before we start, and I'll say it again later, this is a fan theory. The show says he's a hero. We're testing that. Court's in session. This channel's deal is simple. Canon labeled as canon, theories labeled as theories, loudly. If you want YouTube with its receipts showing, subscribe and grab a seat in the gallery. And we're doing something a bit mad right now. 30 videos in 30 days, chasing 2,500 subscribers. If you want in on that ride, we genuinely love your support. First exhibit, Recruitment. Exhibit A, straight canon. Rita escapes, and Zordon tells Alpha to teleport him 5 overbearing and over-emotional humans. Alpha works out what that means, and he's horrified. Teenagers. Teenagers with attitude, as the show's own opening put it. Not soldiers, not adults, nobody who agreed to anything. Kids pulled out of their day, dropped in a desert base, pitched a war by a stranger in a tube, and when Jason and the others walk away, watch it again. The option disappears the second putties jump them on the way back to town. Same afternoon. Recruitment pitch, then ambush. You can call that a coincidence, or you can call it the oldest sales tactic there is. Create the problem, sell the solution. Exhibit B, the Secrecy rule. Zordon's 3 commandments. Never escalate a battle, keep your identity secret, never use the powers for personal gain. Sensible superhero stuff. Until you notice what it does. 5 minors are now in a war they can't tell a single adult about. Not their parents, not a teacher. Every safeguard a child has, cut, by rule, on day 1. In any other genre, an adult telling children to keep secrets from their parents is the warning sign. Exhibit C, the track record. This war is 10,000 years old. Zordon's previous move was sealing Rita in a bin. No trial, no rehabilitation, and we covered that in her own video. His answer to losing his own body was recruiting somebody else's children. So the prosecution asks, what do you call a commander whose casualties are always someone else's kid? It doesn't stop at 5. Powers fail, or a ranger burns out and leaves, and Zordon recruits another teenager. Tommy gets deprogrammed from brainwashing, and he's back in the field within a week. No counseling anywhere in sight. Then more. Somebody falls, somebody younger inherits the suit. The machine always needs feeding. It only eats young. Then Exhibit E, the one the fandom is still arguing about at 2 in the morning. The peace conference. 3 rangers finally get a real exit, an honorable one, off to Switzerland. The powers don't retire with them, they get transferred. The war never lets its assets go, it just restaffs. We told the real-world story of that era elsewhere on the channel. The pay dispute, the walkout. And here's the uncomfortable rhyme. And this is our observation, not the show's. In the fiction, and behind the camera, the machine treated its teenagers as replaceable. Both versions agreed. Now the defense. This theory only matters if we argue both sides properly, and the defense has real ammunition. Point 1. The stakes were real. Rita, and everything after Rita, could have ended the planet. Canon shows city-leveling monsters weekly. Zordon didn't start this war. He was its longest-serving casualty. A general with no body, no army, and an enemy already loose, picked the best fighters he could get. And Canon suggests the morphing grid bonds with the young, which means the weapon may have picked the age bracket for him. Point 2. Look at the outcomes. Season after season, the show's own evidence, the Rangers thrive. Grades hold. Friendships get deeper. Confidence blooms. Jason, Trini, and Zach leave for the peace conference, and Zordon lets them go, celebrates them. Everybody who wanted out got out, honored. Compare that with how Rita's side treated Caron. We made that video. It's harrowing. Next to it, Zordon's operation looks less like exploitation and more like the only functional youth club in the galaxy. Point 3. The big one. The ending. Countdown to destruction. Canon. When the war comes down to one move, Zordon doesn't spend a teenager. He orders Andros to kill him. He sacrifices himself, and the wave that follows redeems his enemies. Rita, Zed, Karoni. Purified, freed, human. The man the prosecution calls a warlord ended a 10,000-year war by dying for both sides. Warlords don't do that. Fathers do. So who's right? This is where it gets interesting, because the franchise kept picking at this scab, which tells you the writers felt it too. Canon evidence of doubt. The show stages Zordon guilt stories over and over. The Green Candle aftermath, Tommy's power losses, played with real sadness. Decades later, the officially licensed comics and legacy material ran whole storylines interrogating Zordon's choices, including alternate universes where the recruitment goes monstrous. The 2017 movie made him openly flawed, a Zordon whose motives get questioned on screen by the kids themselves. The property keeps retrying this case, because the case is real. One more observation? This is the bit that gives the theory staying power. Zordon is a floating head who can't leave the base, sending kids to do what he can't. Every millennial who grew up and met a certain kind of boss, all vision and no exposure, your risk and his mission, recognize something. We didn't invent this theory as kids. We invented it the day we got jobs. The verdict. And remember the label, fan theory. Our reading. The show's official answer is still hero. Our ruling. Not guilty of villainy. Guilty of something harder to name. Zordon was a wartime commander doing what wartime commanders do. Recruit the young, keep secrets, feed the machine. And the show, to its eternal credit, gave him the one ending that actually answers the charge. He paid the bill himself. Here's the part I can't settle. Whether he ever asked himself if there was another way, the show never tells us. There's no scene. So I don't know, and neither does anyone arguing it in the comments. But the theory survives the verdict, and this is opinion. The mentor was using you is the story every adult eventually tells about something from their childhood. A coach, a church, a company. Zordon is where a generation first practiced asking the question. That's not a plot hole. That's a show teaching media literacy through a giant head in a jar. One more time, for the algorithm and the comment section. This was a fan theory, labeled, argued both ways, verdict rendered. That's how we do conspiracies here. Out loud, receipts visible, no pretending speculation is fact. The Rage Farm version runs the prosecution alone and calls it a documentary. We're not them. That's the point of us. Comments, the jury speaks, guilty or not guilty. Make your case, cite your episode. Best argued verdict on either side gets pinned. And the deeper one. What was your Zordon? The thing you believed in at 10 and re-examined at 30? That thread's gonna be better than the video. The full files on Rita's imprisonment, Tommy's conscription, and Karoni's kidnapping are on your screen. Call it the evidence locker. Every view keeps honestly labeled deep dives alive on this platform. Right. That's the video. If you're new here, the deal on this channel is simple. Everything we say gets checked before it goes out. No invented drama, no cursed episode nonsense, no lying to you for a thumbnail. Just the stuff we actually grew up on, told properly, by someone who was there. We're doing 30 of these in 30 days at the minute, chasing 2,500 subscribers, and every single view counts more than you'd think. So if you've got a correction, or a memory from back then, put it in the comments. We read them. Half the ideas on this channel came from someone in there going, hang on, you missed one. And there's another video waiting on your screen right now. Go on then.